Welcome to TYT Sports RotoWire. I'm Heather Ankeny alongside Chris Liss, Ben Mankiewicz. Week 11. Well, let's look at Week 10, beating the book. How'd you guys do?
I won a game.
You did?
Yeah.
What happened? I did just.
I killed it. Well, Chris and I went head-to-head on one game, so in a sense, I feel like I got a little victory. Chris had the Dolphins. I had the Lions at -2.5. And I had that game all the way.
Yeah. You won the coin flip game.
Yeah, I won the coin flip game. Yeah. Although, we do a Turks and Jerks segment on Monday, and I'm curious how much you watched of this game. But I thought the play of the week, and it would have been better if the Dolphins had won, was Tannehill was Ryan Tannehill running down the DB after the pick. He got face masked. Tannehill did,
right,
trying to make the tackle. Still made the tackle, and then Stafford throws a pick, so that he literally saved the touchdown. And then the Dolphins came back, kicked a field goal. It's a 10-point swing on hustle, and it looked like it was going to be the difference in that game until Riddick made that great move and Stafford made that great throw.
Yeah, they also had the blocked field goal that went back to the 6s, which is when Miami scored, and so that was another 10-point play.
That's right.
And yet they still lost.
They still lost, right? Suggesting that maybe the Lions are better, although the kicking is an issue for the Lions. It's been all year. The other game that I was close on, Buffalo, but it turns out Kyle Orton, really bad throws there at the end. I mean, 4 cracks, couple of open receivers, balls that are supposed to go high and outside to give Watkins a chance to catch it are low and in, and are lucky they weren't picked. Open receivers, missed Chandler once in the first half and then missed a touchdown again at the end of the second half. And in a game like that, that's one reason why you don't pick Buffalo. He's not a playmaking quarterback.
And the coach sucks. He punts I said this before. In plus territory, he's punting on 4th and 4. At midfield, he's punting on 4th and 1. And anyway, they got down there at the end of the game, and there was some option of kicking a field goal. I doubt they would actually do it, but they were down 4. There were like 3 minutes left. They had all 3 timeouts.
There were more than 3 minutes and all 3 timeouts.
Right. And I was like, kick the damn field goal, cover the spread. Even though I would never, I think they should have gone on 4th and 10, actually.
It's funny. I never want to kick. I never want to punt. I never want to kick the field goal. I want to go ahead. It was 4th and 10.
It was 10, yeah.
Right. It was 4th and 10. And I thought they should kick the field goal because I thought their best opportunity with their lack of playmakers was there's a big benefit to having the ball at the end of the game and being able to get to the 33-yard line and having Dan Carpenter kick a 51-yard field goal than having to score a touchdown. So I understand. It's one of those cases where I get both arguments fully. 4th and 3, 4th and 4. I'd have gone for it. 4th and 10, I probably would have kicked the field goal there, but Marone went for it there and punted other times. I found them all puzzling decisions.
Yeah, and it's actually true that you get the ball back, you win it with the field goal.
That's right.
And secondly, even if you score the touchdown there, you score the touchdown, the other team can still come back and tie with a field goal on the final possession or win with a touchdown. So
I almost always would go for it. I would have kicked the field goal there to make it 17-16, and that would have covered, which would have been nice too.
Chris, you also had the Bills last week.
I had that one. I had the Dolphins the other side of that, and so okay, fine. Those were 2 coin flips. I don't feel bad. But the Giants, they were tied in the 3rd quarter, getting 9, and then the bottom fell out. I guess you got to count all 60 minutes. You can't just say for 45. My pick was good. Your Raiders pick was great for 15. I mean
7. Yeah, the 2 great. But 2 things in that Giants game really would have changed it when the Giants are up or down 21-17, still in the game, and the Seahawks fumbled twice, and the ball stays alive for 4 or 5 seconds, and somehow the Seahawks end up with both those balls, and then the Giants seemingly totally deflated after not covering those. Marshawn Lynch, it's like a 7-on-7 May practice score. Like no one touched him, and he just sort of waltzed in on third. And then the game was over.
He looked like he weighed 450 pounds, and when he would crash into a giant defender, the guy would go flying back 5 yards. And they were just gassed, and it was over. They also had that interception where I think it was Beckham knocked it down to get to break up the pass, but knocked it right into a defender's
ended up
hand.
knocking it up. Yeah. Right, that was a freak interception in the end zone, and you saw Eli's reaction to that was like, I can't, come on.
And so fantasy-wise, at least Beckham did well, and he looks like he's going to be a star. So that's the only silver lining in the Giants' entire season. The 2 wins were good. Jets won outright. Falcons won easily, covered easily. Those were good. Those were my 2 best bets, too. So I don't feel that bad.
And your losses were way better. Put up my losses again. We didn't talk about those very briefly. My losses, other than the Bills, Raiders, Jaguars, Panthers, those were horrible.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
those
just
are
being
bad.
on the wrong side
Yeah.
from basically the coin flip on.
All right, well, who'd you take this week, Chris?
Well, I'm talking about taking responsibility for a poor week. That's a, talking about the anti-tout over here. He's not trying to
Those
sell
are
his
bad.
stuff.
Raiders, Jaguars, Panthers, bad.
That's how you do it. All right, here's some, these are going to be good. Well, again, it's my intention for these to be 5-0. We'll see what actually happens.
Okay.
All right, the one that jumped out at me first was I like the Bears minus 3.5 at home against the Vikings. I know the Bears, how can you take the Bears and lay more than a field goal after what we saw? But I think it's exactly why you do it. The Vikings, their quarterback's a rookie, their passing game's terrible. I think the Bears at home, just for some semblance of dignity, which you always think these teams have it, but they don't end up having it. But I'm going to say they have some dignity. They're going to win this game. They're at home. They're going to bounce back. The other game is Houston +3 at Cleveland. I think Brian Hoyer is a great story. I'm going to write something on him later today. But I just don't think Cleveland's that good. It was a horrific game for the Bengals at home. I can't even explain what happened. But I'm taking Houston +3 there as a bounce back. Another game I'm going to take is Kansas City hosting Seattle. They actually have to, I think they're giving 1.5, right? Are they getting or
They're
giving?
giving.
They're giving. Either way, around that 0 point, it's not that big a deal. You watch that Seattle game with the Giants. I thought that was an even game for 3 quarters. I just don't think Seattle's that good. I don't think they really have much downfield passing attack. They're not going to throw on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs' dink and dunk, safe sort of style is going to match up well against Seattle, and I think it's going to be a close game with the Chiefs at home winning narrowly by a field goal, maybe by 4 or 5. I'm taking them. I'm taking New Orleans at home. Usually like to buy low and take the Cincinnati, the team that just got destroyed. I'm going the other way. Andy Dalton, to me, if you saw the acting he did in that Pepsi commercial, it was commensurate with his quarterback play on the field, and I just feel like he's just a broken man. And he shouldn't have done that commercial, and Pepsi's an unwholesome product, okay? And they're not sponsoring the show now, obviously. I don't think they were anyway, but it's an unwholesome product. It's disgusting. It makes people fat and unhealthy. And so I am going to go with New Orleans at home. They do well at home. They're going to bounce back after that loss to San Francisco.
My favorite reasoning ever.
And then finally, Washington, I'm laying the 7. I know Tampa showed a little spark against the Browns, and again they beat the Steelers, but I just think Tampa is one of the league's real doormats. They're one of these abysmal teams, and Washington with RG3 isn't that bad. Their D doesn't have a good passing, but they stuff the run, they blitz a lot, and I just think McCown is not going to be up to it, and the Redskins are going to score points on that horrific defense. I'm laying the wood here.
We don't agree on anything.
Okay, good.
So,
good.
In fact, in one game we're right up against each other.
Okay, perfect.
But I like your reasoning on the Bears, and I spent a long time thinking about the Bears, and it's the hook that kept me off it.
Right.
Like if the Bears had been 3, I'd probably do it.
Right.
Because you just want to buy them after this miserable performance. But I didn't, so I left the Bears alone. I'm going back on Thursday night trying to steal a win. I think that those teams are pretty evenly matched, Miami and Buffalo. Miami's better, but I like 5.5, and I suspect that game will be close. But I sort of half feel like I'm looking at 34-7 again. Like I've taken a pounding on Thursday night games.
Thursday, Monday, Sunday. It's just
I've been a disaster.
Horrible.
So I'm literally going back to Buffalo one more time. Right. I was that even after being as disappointed as I was in Kyle Orton and Doug Marrone on Sunday with some of the decisions.
Kyle Orton, but Kyle Orton looked pretty good for most of that game.
Well, I mean, he missed a big touchdown that could have put him up 14-3, where they ended up going 7-3 with Chandler was just open. That said, if Bryce Brown doesn't fumble, or if Scott Chandler grabs that fumble in the end zone, 2 things that should have happened, I think the Bills win that game, and we're not really talking about it. So, nonetheless, I'm going back to Buffalo at +5.5 on Sunday. We'll see if there's any hangover for the Dolphins for playing as well as they do, losing that game to the Lions. I'm taking Green Bay at 5.5. I love.
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Eagles. I thought Mark Sanchez was really good last night. I don't think all of a sudden this guy's going to completely resurrect his career. Green Bay, undefeated on grass. They're great at home. I think they'll just solidly win. That's not going to necessarily be an indictment of the Eagles if that game ends up 34-24. But I like the Packers to win that game by a touchdown. We're going up against each other in 2 games.
Wow,
Excuse me.
It's gonna be
Look
a
at this.
pivotal week here.
Yeah.
I'm taking Seattle, and I hear your argument on that game was for 2.5, 3 quarters was pretty much even, the Seahawks and Giants. When it was over, one team looked like they were a Super Bowl contender. And I think that an offense that is completely incapable of stretching the field against a really good defense can be exposed. And I thought that was...
Now, which side are you talking about?
I'm talking about...
say that about both.
Right, but the Seahawks defense is, I think, against a team that cannot stretch the field, will rise to the occasion. The Chiefs defense is good too, but the Seahawks can, well, the Chiefs can run the ball too. I think the Seahawks are about to be pretty good again. Okay. And that's a tough game, and I got it, and I don't mean this as this is not a super anti-Chiefs pick, and beating the Chiefs in Kansas City is tough. But again, I feel like the Chiefs have gotten a little bit lucky. I think they got lucky on Sunday, and I think that, again, I see that game as a field goal also. I just see it going the other way. We'll see. This will be a great test. If the Seahawks don't play well here, then I think for the rest of the year we can say, no, they're not getting their stuff together. They may make the playoffs anyway, but they're not about to be world beaters again. Then the other game that we're going up against each other are the Buccaneers. I'm using my old school RG3 or not, this team has no business being a 7-point favorite in an NFL game.
Really?
Right. So I'll take Tampa Bay. And
are you saying that as a former Redskins fan?
No.
Fan?
I mean, I've had some great success this year betting against the Redskins. I've bet on them one time this year. I bet on them against Dallas, where they won it outright. I like Tampa in that game. I still believe in Lovie Smith, and I suspect that's the kind of team that'll end the year winning 2 of its last 5, maybe 3 of its last 6, depending on the competition.
I believe in the historical Lovie Smith. I just don't believe.
No, they're bad.
Coach.
There's no question they're bad.
No, I believe that he exists.
And then I'm going with a total Chris Liss pick. I'm not the Niners. I think also got very lucky. 2 plays, the completion at the end.
I'm glad you did it. I wanted to, but I could not. Go ahead.
What are you taking?
San Francisco flying across the country, playing early, all the things that we know about what that does. The Giants at home, they're not good, but they're not atrocious, and they're getting 4.5 at home against a team that just is not an elite team, but still seems to be being treated in Vegas as if they are an elite team. So I'll take the Giants plus 4.5, and that game I feel really good about.
Well, let's see. So really, for the season, you guys are pretty much at 50%. You're a little bit over.
Well, this time, I mean, we're not. One of us is more than.
I was just saying you're a little bit.
Got a 1-game lead.
But in a weird
one game ahead is one game ahead. If we tie the rest of the year, I win.
It's been a weird NFL season where we lost some playmakers right off the bat. These have been some weird blowouts on Thursday night. Thursday night's been tough. So I say kudos to you guys.
I already hate my Buffalo pick.
All right.
I already.
Regret sets in already.